Welcome to Lessons in Progress,
the podcast where growth is messy,
lessons are ongoing,
and perfection is not the goal.
I am your host, Jessie
and Alicia.
Welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Progress. In all realness, we took a little bit of a break. We were just kind of feeling burnt out in general. Teaching burnout in October is real, and then it was just we wanted to make sure that we were giving you guys the most authentic, real, but also good. I don't know. We're both perfectionists. So we were starting to feel like we were just pushing content out, but it wasn't as best as we could make it. So we might make a little shift to our scheduling. We're thinking every other, but thanks for coming back. We're at episode 12. And we hit 100 followers on TikTok.
Woo! Honestly, it sounds so silly to like it's not silly. I'm happy we're celebrating, but last week's video of you, it went dude, we were getting followers, likes, this like crazy. We were at 40 something followers on TikTok. We're 115 now,
Yeah.
and that was in a week.
Slay
I
girly.
love them teachers.
We
Thank
did
you.
it. Okay, we have a quick little shout out.
Yes. Okay, shout out to Mixer. So today, I wish this was wine, but it's not. It is a energy drink from Mixers. If you guys don't know them, you need to look them up. This one is the raspberry punch flavor, and after this, we're gonna work out. So I'm like, give us some energy. This is perfect drink to have right now. Their greens though, I've had so many greens that taste like shit.
Yeah.
Their greens taste so good, and they sent us a little package for our team, and so we have a ton of their packets in the kindergarten team room, and I'll put a greens in there, and it tastes so good. I'm like, okay, I can finish my water today.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
God.
It tastes good, but low key, maybe TMI.
Mm.
It helps with regularity. I was not I was not able to poop earlier this week, and I drank a greens at night.
Yeah, you're
And then in the morning I was like, I can poop. So it's good. It gives you nutrients and it helps you go poop.
Yeah, it's so good. So
I know.
it's dangerous. I'm like, I can't drink them too fast.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna get started today with our pre-topic cues, like always. And so, what emotion has been visiting you the most lately? Oh
Okay.
no.
I honestly feel like in this happiness, I've been really happy lately, but I've also been anxious. And so I'm working on the anxiety part with my therapist, but I feel like I know it said the one. I feel like it's two though. I'm genuinely happy. I don't know, life is good right now, but also just anxiety around this time of year is just I feel like if you have anxiety, it's just it's just
It's
there.
yucky. Well, and you have some a lot going on with school right now with a
Yeah.
lot of the kids you have, and you have some really sweet kids. I mean, all kids are great and sweet and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
you have some hard ones and you have some new ones, and so getting them in their routines and everything, that's a lot.
Yeah. So,
And then personal life, so
yeah.
that's always hard.
All right. I put this question in because I'm really proud of us.
Shout out us.
Are you a morning workout girly or an afternoon workout girly?
Well, as of last week, I'd say we are the morning workout girlies.
Yes.
We used to work out every Monday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday after school at 6. And I never could work out at 6. So it was "Ooh, here we go." But for about a year, we kept that. We kept showing up. It's nice to have a partner.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine. I don't want to go, but Jesse's here, so I gotta go. So we'd always do it at 6, but then we'd be getting done at 7:30, and then she had to drive home. Then we'd shower, then we'd make dinner, and then it's bedtime. And it's just kind of eh. So last week was our first successful week of waking up at 5 o'clock because we would start our workout at 5:30. And it helps us not yap as much and focus and get the workout done before school.
Yeah.
So we have been morning workout girlies, and we want to continue it. So it's been good.
I loved it. It was it's a good change.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we got some feedback. I think it was from one of your
Josie.
people. Shout out Josie. That she liked when we were talking about feelings and identifying feelings. And she was like, I think it would be cool if you did a more in-depth episode about that. So we took that feedback and we're going to talk about identifying feelings in a couple different categories, I guess you could say, this episode. So Let's see.
Let's get started.
So we're gonna start with identifying your own feelings.
Wonderful.
Do you ever struggle to name what you're feeling? Like, you know something's off, but you just can't label it?
Yeah, I definitely feel like that, and it's, like, frustrating because 'cause I've been going to therapy, as you guys all know, for a hot minute now. It's probably been about 6 years, I'm not kidding, once a week, like, every week. And I feel like I knew I needed therapy. I had it in high school and all that fun stuff, with my social worker, but I was able to, like, recognize anxiety or, like, when I'm feeling really overwhelmed and stressed. It'd be really hard for me when I'd get, like, an anxiety attack
Mhm.
because sometimes it'd be like, I literally don't know why I can't breathe right now, and I'm, like, paralyzed, but I'm anxious and I can't move forward or past this. I don't know why I'm feeling all this. So that's been hard, and I also think sometimes I'll have, like, some really off days, and
Yeah.
I am like, "Okay, well, this is actually checked off my list." Because a lot of the times, like, if I have unexpected things on my to-do list, that stresses me out. A lot of mine's caused by stress. But also, like, body image and, like, your own, like, critical lens of yourself, and so, like, if I go through the process of being like, "Well, I'm not stressed today, everything's off my calendar," body image is hard a little bit, but, like, why am I feeling just meh, you know? I definitely feel like I struggle still, but I do try to take the time to at least reflect and, like, go through, like, how I could be feeling, and then my escape, and I wouldn't say it's healthy, but it's healthier than other things, is to sleep. So usually,
Mhm.
like, if I can take a good nap, I can wake up and I'm like, "Okay, I understand what I was feeling. I was feeling more like this," and then able to
Yeah.
kind of move forward.
Well, and sleep is honestly like a good reset. Like you said,
I
it's
was gonna say something bad, and I'm like, "Nope, not."
no, it's better than other things, it really is. Like, sometimes you just have to sleep. Like, let me just be
Yeah.
unconscious for a little.
I'll, like, wake back up, so it's
Yeah,
okay. We'll rejoin life in just
yeah,
an hour.
yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, so, for your own feelings, what's a time when you realized your body was feeling something before your mind caught up?
Okay, this is also therapy, therapy, therapy. This is something that I work on in therapy too because I'm really good at pushing down emotions and just doing like, "Everything's fine, I'm fine, life is fine, we're just gonna keep on trucking through." And I never got migraines before teaching,
Mhm.
which I don't know if that tells you something or not, but what I've noticed is, like, when my body is feeling something or is just, like, tapped out, done emotionally with me just, like, pushing down, pushing down, I get migraines because I get, like, the vision aura and, like, I my last one, I literally got it while I was teaching. Thank God, shout out to Alyssa. I have a really amazing partner teacher this year, just with the dynamic of our classroom, and she was teaching. I literally had to go sleep in the back of my classroom because I felt so nauseous. I couldn't see. Like, it's usually my left eye with the aura that's the worst, but, like, I can't see out of it.
Mm-mm.
The pounding of my head. So I think that that is always when I get those migraines, like a wake-up call of like, "Alright, bitch,
Calm down.
sit down."
Yeah.
Either take out your journal or talk to, like, somebody you can trust, whether it's a friend, like my man, my therapist, whoever it is. Talk through, like, why you might be feeling like this, and yeah, I've been getting migraines kind of a lot, so
Yeah, you
I need
have.
to yeah, I'm really good at just, like, pushing things down, and I've been told that since I was a little girl, like, my gymnastics coaches would be like, "I don't know how you're feeling because when you're happy or pissed, you look the same." And I'm like, I just push it down and, like,
Yeah,
w w
keep
because in
going.
my head, like, life has to keep lifing. Like, I'm not an excuse person, which
Yeah.
pros and cons to that, but, like, yeah, my body feels things a lot before I sit down and I'm like, "'Kay, how am I feeling?"
Yeah. No,
So,
that totally makes sense.
yeah.
You do, you push yourself so much and you have those, like I feel like everyone has those, like, little things that are getting to them or, like, kind of just, like, yeah, bothering them, and then finally it's like, "Alright, sit down, you need a break."
Yeah,
Like,
like, I know some people, when they get to a point, like, they have, like, an emotional breakdown where they just, like, cry or they're angry or they rage. No, like, I get migraines.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So, something we're working on.
Oh, you poor thing.
I know.
Okay, so for topic 2, we're gonna relate it back to the classroom, helping kids identify their feelings, which is just such an important topic.
Yeah.
I feel like it was not talked about when we were in school ever, And I'm so happy that we're realizing how important it is for kids to recognize their emotions in the classroom and name their emotions. So, what's your go-to way to help a child name what they're feeling without telling them how they should feel?
Okay, there's a lot of different parts of this question. I'm gonna try to answer it quickly. One of the biggest things that I feel like, especially this year, has helped is morning meeting. It just kind of sets the tone. We talk about different questions every day. One of my questions during, I think it's on Mondays, is "How are you feeling?" And then
Mhm,
there's pictures to help
mhm,
them, like, "Are you sleepy? Are you excited? Are you tired?" So it's like starting the day every single Monday, specifically with emotions, but, like, morning meeting is just a time where we all sit in a literal circle, and there's just different things that we talk about, and it just helps with that, like, inclusivity, but also, like, them feeling comfortable. Um, so I think, like, a good way to start a like, cultivate a welcoming environment with any emotion is some type of morning meeting. But I have little stuffy characters in the front of my classroom. I also have books that go along with them. And I try, especially at the beginning of the year when I'm still building those relationships, when I'm feeling a certain emotion, I pick up the stuffy and I'm like, "I'm feeling anxious." And then I have the green anxious or no, calm is green. Whatever the anxious one is.
scribbles.
Um I'm feeling anxious, and, like, and I talk through. When Miss Gordon's feeling anxious, my belly has butterflies, my heart feels like it's going fast. So, I'm talking about how that emotion feels, and then when I see one of my kids being off, sometimes I'll ask them, like, what's your body feeling? Like, tell me, are your palms sweaty? Are you feeling, fidgety? So we'll start with questions, but then I have a couple kids that, like to use the visuals. So, like, they'll go up and they'll grab, like, the scribble, which the scribble is all the emotions, like, intertwined. And they're like, I'm
Right.
feeling like this." And so then we can kind of, like, talk through.
Mm,
I feel like it's really important even at 5, to allow the student to talk through how they're feeling with you just supporting that conversation. Nobody likes to be told, "You're feeling anxious," or "You're feeling sad." So just, like, opening up the floor. They're gonna need a lot of structure in the conversation, but that's been how I feel like it's been the most successful, like, talking through my own emotions with them, but also, like, giving them the opportunity or, like, I have a lot of kids that like to draw this year. So, like, if they're just like, "Ah," like, I can tell, like, something's not right, I'll, like, give them a piece of paper, and I'm like, "Why don't you draw me a picture of, like, how you're feeling?"
mhm.
And, like, sometimes, like, that can tell you a lot because 'cause they'll, like, do scribbles, and then you can talk about the actual picture, like, "Why did we scribble today instead of draw a smiley face?"
Yeah.
So, just giving them voice and empowering them, but also walking them through it because feelings are overwhelming, and if you're like, "I don't know how I'm feeling, and now you want me to tell you," like, they need a lot of, structure of
Yeah.
the conversation.
Yeah. No, and I love morning meetings too because I feel like it allows them to feel comfortable about expressing and talking about their emotions, and that you don't always have to feel happy to
Mhm.
share that out loud with your class. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's just important that we're so, we're told to just be like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Everything's good." And it, like, allows them to open up and be like, "I'm feeling sad today." And if they wanna share why, they can. And
Mhm.
it's recognizing that, like, all emotions have a certain place and time, and you're allowed to feel those emotions without feeling like you only need to feel happy.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah. Okay, how can we teach emotional awareness without over explaining or forcing it?
Well, I love that you talked about morning meetings because I feel like it's really important that the kids are able to sit down in a place and like listen to other kids to see how they're feeling, and share maybe why that's happening. And it allows them to recognize that there's like a spectrum of emotions and
Mhm.
not just one of like, I feel happy and I can only share when I feel happy. And so I think that is huge. I have those little stuffies as well from like the emotion books. And I think what's really important is using like mentor text for kids in
Mhm.
so many different ways that you're teaching, but having books specifically on like the emotion of feeling anxious, the emotion of feeling scared or worried or, angry or happy or excited or all these different emotions where you're able to take the students through like a visual of
Yes.
what it looks like that's appropriate for their age. And they're able to relate and be like, yeah, I have felt that before. I also love what is it, the Inside Out ones, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like, those movies are so amazing for the kids because the kids can really be like, "I feel this emotion," and they're able to recognize it, and they're able to explain why because it's just developmentally appropriate in the
Yeah,
movie term. So,
I
I love
agree.
that. I think giving a mentor text so they kinda can see how emotions can look and come like, be expressed differently
Mhm.
is huge, and then I also think helping students create a space where they can like, kind of just take a break from
Yeah,
everything, because if a student is, like, so overwhelmed or anxious or mad or sad, the last thing you wanna be doing is be like, "Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling mad? Are you feeling anxious?"
yeah,
You're gonna be like, "Can you get out of my face? I don't
yeah,
know how I'm feeling," but, like, no. So, I think the biggest thing too is, like, having a space within your classroom. I swear by calm corners.
yeah.
I remember when I first introduced it in my class a couple years ago, I was, like, nervous. I was like, "Are kindergartners gonna just wanna play and,
Mhm,
like, use this as a place to escape?" But, like, when you explain it and explicitly teach it, it's so helpful. So I think, like, making sure that you've taught skills, to help students, like, take a break, whether it's breathing techniques,
mhm.
sensory toys, all of that kinda stuff to allow them to kind of collect themselves a little bit first, and then allow yourself to dive in with visuals or with drawings or all of that to express how they're feeling. And I think just making sure to, like, their basic necessities are met, to, like, having
Yeah.
that time of day to check in and be like, "Okay, maybe they didn't sleep, they're also
Mhm.
hungry, let's give them a break, let's give them a snack, and let's revisit this conversation a little bit because
Yeah,
it's gonna be way more productive." And
yeah,
so, I think that's a way that you can kind of teach emotional awareness without overdoing or telling them exactly how
yeah.
they're feeling.
No, I love that.
Okay, how do you you already talked about this a little
Yeah.
bit, and I love this. How do you model emotional regulation for your students or kids?
So, like she said, I kind of already touched briefly on this, but I am a huge believer in just being, like, authentic with your kids. So, if I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling stressed, like, I'm like, "Uh-oh, Miss Gordon's brain is feeling like it's bouncing off my side of my skull. Like, I need a minute. Like, can we all take some deep breaths together?" And we'll
Mhm.
stop in the middle of a lesson and take 3 deep breaths. Or, I'll be, like, bouncing around the classroom dancing with them, and I'm like, "I'm feeling happy, because yada, yada, yada." But in school, they were like, "You are supposed to go up there and, like, never let them know that you're having a bad day," and I don't believe in that. I feel like it helps build connections too because they can see that some feelings that they're feeling in their little bodies, you feel in your big body, and so, yeah, I'm just a huge believer of, like, being real with them. Obviously, like, you're just helping identify, like, how you're feeling. You don't have to go into detail about why you're feeling like that, but, yeah, I tell my kids all the time,
Well,
like
I think it's so important too because it's like, I'm letting you know that I'm either sad or I'm struggling or I'm anxious or my brain's feeling this way. And it's okay for me to feel like that. But at the same time, I'm still showing up in this
mhm,
way. I'm still teaching you. I'm still moving around my day like this kind of way. My energy might have changed
yeah,
a little bit, but like I'm still showing up and I'm getting my tasks done. So similar to like the students of like, I know you need a break. There might be some different things you need today than you need other days. But like this is what's acceptable when you're feeling those
right,
things, and, like, throwing chairs is not.
right,
So,
yeah,
I think that's huge.
yeah. Tell your kids, y'all. I feel like if you're a teacher or a parent, like, there's nothing wrong with being like, "I'm feeling blank." How else are they ever gonna identify it themselves if you never identify like, hello?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
They need someone to model it.
yeah. Okay, this one is gonna be kind of interesting because men are just silly
Silly
sometimes.
guys.
So, helping your man identify his feelings, I feel like if you're a teacher can be particularly challenging because 'cause I'm like, I know how to help a five-year-old identify their feelings. I don't want to make you feel like you're 5, but, like, some of them need help, some of them don't. So, why do you think it's so hard for men to name or express emotions sometimes?
Alright. Well, I think it goes back to how society has these gender roles, and how men are perceived to take care of things like this, and this. Women are perceived to take care of things this, and this way. And so men have been taught at young ages, of course, we all know, "Oh, boys don't cry. You don't
Mhm.
express these emotions. Like, you're tough. You keep going." And I think with that, like, stigma has caused a lot of men to not even dig into emotions and how they're even feeling because 'cause they're always told, like, "Just keep going, you don't have
Yeah.
time to stop." And so I think that's, like, the biggest problem, and I think luckily now, like we've talked about with education and just how schools are moving with social emotional skills and everything like that, boys and girls are being taught to recognize emotions and being able to, like, learn ways to best cope with them. But I definitely think that stigma has made it really hard for men to even try to dig in to
Yeah.
expressing how they're feeling. And I think a lot of the times men are told or are aware of, like, the really basic sad, mad, happy,
Yeah.
and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe excited if
maybe
you throw it in
here
there.
and there,
Yeah.
but, like, they don't understand the whole spectrum
Yeah.
of emotions, whereas, like, women are always told we're emotional,
Yeah.
and with that, I feel like women have been able to, like, truly, like, reflect and dig into how they're feeling, and a lot of men and women go to therapy, but I just remember for myself, like, I remember seeing that emotion chart
Mhm.
at, like, a really young age, whether it was
Yeah.
in high school when I'm seeing my social worker and it's like, "These are different emotions," and I'm like, "Oh." Oh, yeah, I can feel like this and this and this.
Right.
And I was able to see that at a younger age because of the stigma or stereotype of, like, the more emotional women than men. And
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of, like, where the problem has started,
I agree.
with men and being able to express their emotion.
Yeah.
How do you create space for your man to open up without feeling like you're pressing him?
I feel like this starts with, like, a strong connection, and, like, communication. I feel like modeling almost for, like, anyone, but, like, your man of, like, I don't know, like, "I'm feeling like this, like, how are you like,
Mhm.
it's gonna take time. They're not gonna be, like, super open and honest and raw with their emotions, especially if they grew up being told, like, "You're happy or mad," or sad maybe, but even if you're sad, deal with it by yourself.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's, like, it takes time, you can't force it, but if you're noticing, like, maybe they're feeling a certain emotion, like, trying to have a conversation, like, maybe start talking about, like, your feelings and how you're feeling, um, and just, like, setting the tone in this space, and like I said, like, I mean, literally not pressing, but also I feel like that just telling them, like, "If and when you wanna talk about your feelings, I'm here for you, like, I wanna help you, I wanna listen, like, I wanna be your peace," or however you wanna phrase it, and then I feel like over time, like, they'll just feel comfortable because, like, expressing your emotions for anyone is really vulnerable, but I feel like for expressing emotions for men, um, and just, like, men of color who, like, in their culture, they really don't talk about it. Like, it's just, like, it's modeling and creating a space where, like, they feel like they can trust you with their emotions because it is such a vulnerable thing for them. So, I would say, like, yeah, just being like, "I'm feeling like this, this happened today, yada, yada." Um, or just doing, like, check-ins, like, "Hey, babe, you know, I know a lot's been going on, like, how are you feeling?" And, like, the first couple, they might be like, "Oh, I'm good."
Good.
But,
Great,
like,
fine.
I feel like after you start doing it, like,
Regularly.
regularly and just creating that space of or just, like, I don't know, like, random times where you're like, "I'm thinking about you, can't wait to talk tonight," like, and hear about your day.
Yeah.
Like, it starts with, like, the more, like, surface level conversations, and then over time, as, like, your relationship builds and your connection builds and trust builds, it gets deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Because I know even me, like, if Elijah were to look at me and be like, "You feel really anxious today," like, I'd be like,
Don't tell me how I feel.
yeah, like, they don't like that, and so and it might like, they might not be ready to talk about how they're feeling, like, some men need a little bit more time to, like, identify themselves how they're feeling and then talk about it, where if you're like, "No, we are sitting down right now, and we're talking about this," like, that's not gonna go over well,
No.
so, yeah. What's one thing that helped your relationship become a safe space for emotional honesty?
All right. Well, I've struggled obviously with mental health for a good I don't know why I laugh when I talk about that. That's just I need to stop. I have struggled with mental health for a good amount of time in my life. And when I met a day, I did meet him as my trainer, but then when we started dating, I was also just, like, really struggling mentally,
Mhm.
and so he saw really early on that I struggled with mental health with and I during that time, it was more like depression
Mhm.
than it was I had anxiety, but my depression was a lot higher, um and so there were some times in our relationship where I maybe didn't wanna even express how deeply I was hurting or how much pain I was in or why I was feeling certain things, but he witnessed things, and
Mhm.
he had to be like, "Oh gosh, like, this is serious," and even if I don't have these same emotions or I don't understand how depression works or how deep it can really affect someone, I see it affecting her life.
Right.
And, like, it's real, you know?
Mhm.
And I think what is kind of nice or I wouldn't say nice, but like you mentioned, people of color, especially men, aren't
Yeah.
always they don't talk about emotions at all. Um, and I know a day growing up didn't really talk about his emotions at all either. Um, but with his mother struggling with, like, mental health issues, he could see things, like, he could
Mhm.
just see it. He's a great listener. And so I think being able to hold a space where I, like you said, felt comfortable sharing how I was feeling when things were really hard, allowed him to become more open on, like, all these different types of emotions and how he can support me. It was always how he could support me. He wouldn't
Yeah.
really share first at all about himself and how he was feeling. Um, and then it was like, "Okay, well, I kinda see, like, this is how you're not how you're feeling. Something seems off.
Yeah.
Is something going on?" And, like, letting them take the time to be like, "Yeah, no, a lot of the time you'll get fine." And then sometimes I would revisit it and I'm like, "Okay, no, like, something actually seems off. Like, do you wanna talk about it right now? Do you wanna talk about it at all or no?" And,
Mhm.
like, sometimes it was like, "No, because I don't know what's going on right now."
Right.
And it's like, "Okay, I'll give you the space." And then he would come back and kind of be like, "Okay, I'm ready to talk."
Yeah.
And so I think, like, pretty much exactly what you said is just, like, allowing them the space. Sometimes they don't wanna talk about things, sometimes they need time to process things, and I think for me, it was just, like, I can tell when things are feeling off, and I understand if you don't wanna talk about it with me right now, but it does help me, like, just like when I feel off and you wanna know what's going on, it helps me to know what's going on with your brain
Right.
too. So, when you have a time that you wanna sit down and talk or express how you're kind of feeling when you're ready, it's important that you share that with me as well.
Yeah. Well, and I
So,
do feel like, having emotional honesty makes you closer, builds a deeper connection. Because obviously, if you have a partner that can't tell you if something is bothering them, like, I don't know how
yeah.
deep yeah, I just feel like it's important to be like and to understand that sometimes if they're feeling, like, a higher emotion or, like, like, anxious or sad or something, like, the way that they, communicate
Mhm.
it might not always come off how, like, you want, but,
Yeah,
like, part of creating emotional honesty is
allowing it.
allowing that, not shutting down and being like, "Don't talk to me like that." Like, there's ways to be like, "Hey, like, next time, do you think you could express that differently? 'Cause it kinda put me on the defense." But, like, they are being emotionally honest with you, so
Mhm.
it's like you want to cultivate that, you don't wanna shut it down, so
Definitely, definitely, and I think, like, the biggest thing too is just we've talked about in the past, but using just, the I statements
yeah.
of, like, "I'm feeling this way," or all that kinda stuff, or, "I'm feeling like this because of this," and just
Mhm.
allowing you to have that open communication.
Yeah.
So, especially when you are feeling hurt or they're feeling distant or you're feeling all these different type of ways, that allows over time for them to, like, recognize more emotions than just happy, sad, mad, and allows them to express and realize, like, the importance of building a relationship on open communication around emotions.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, topic 4. Did you always have it? Have you always, like, been good at recognizing these emotions? What was it like, obviously, in, like, the educational world growing up? Were you ever taught things by teachers in schools? Or how did you kind of get a grips on recognizing your emotions?
Um, I don't remember being taught in school, like we kinda talked about. That wasn't really like it was more like ABCs, 1, 2, 3s in school. I fortunately grew up in a family where I mean, still, we have a really, really close open relationship, and so I feel like identifying emotions and working through and talking through them was modeled for me, but also, like like, my parents didn't shut it down. Like, if I came to them and I said I was sad or something, like, they weren't like, "Okay, go in your room and deal with it." Like, they were like, "Okay, let's talk about it."
Mhm.
Um, I've always been someone that's, like, pushed emotions down, like I said. So, like, even my gymnastics coaches were like, "I don't know how you're feeling." But I think that the thing it's like a blessing and a curse, obviously, having, anorexia at 13 years old, but that also meant that I've been in therapy since I was 13.
Yeah.
And so, for me, I feel like that's really what pushed me ahead in identifying emotions because there's a lot of emotions that are involved in an eating disorder, and just, like, the way your brain works and stuff like that. So, I feel like from, my adolescence when you're starting to feel, like, all those intense emotions, you're going through puberty, yada, yada. I was in therapy. So, yeah, I always had people in my corner who were wanting and open to hear how I was feeling, they never shut it down, but I learned from a pretty young age how to identify emotions and work through them,
Mhm.
so I think that that's what helped me the most, honestly.
100%, because I'm like, yeah, with eating disorders, there's so many things that you don't even know why you're feeling or how you're feeling or how it's impacting your day-to-day life. Because obviously, it's not just like, I am anorexic because I wanna be skinny.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what it is. And so it's like, especially at the age of 13, having to sit down and really deal with and dig into your brain as to like,
Mhm.
how is this controlling my life? How
Yeah.
can I make a change? And, like, recognizing the whole, like, science and brain chemistry behind it,
Yeah.
that is insane, and I still think to this day, it's, like, insane how much you've recovered from it because that shit is a beast.
Yeah. No, it's really hard, but there's so much that goes into it, so it was a lot of sessions were spent like, "Okay, let's just, let's go through, like, your feelings and figure out why this happened," but,
Yeah.
like, yeah, so just talking about it from a pretty young age, having parents who always wanted to talk to me about how I was feeling, and, like, still, I'm 28, and if my dad or mom can see or hear my voice, like, something's off. They're like, "Did you
Mhm.
have a hard day at work? Like, what's going on? Do you wanna talk about it?"
Mhm.
And, like, I'm an open book, so most times I'm like, "Oh, yeah, listen to this. Today we had a meeting and, like, da 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 da." So, yeah, just having people in your life that want to hear about your
Yeah,
emotions. So,
definitely.
alright. This one this one, you probably have better advice because, like, I'm still working on this. Communicating without over explaining. And in my head, like, sometimes just basic communication, I'm like, "Am I over-explaining this?"
Uh-huh.
Which it's not.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I have some things to still learn about it,
Mhm.
but how do you share your heart without shrinking it or over talking it?
Okay, well, I think for me that's a tough one. For me, I think it kinda depends on who you are talking with, and it
Yeah.
really depends on the people you're expressing your feelings to. I am all about, like, sharing how you're feeling. I think it's so important to talk about it. I do think there's times that people over explain in situations that maybe is not the best timing, and that's okay, but I think it's kind of like knowing your audience, knowing the people you're talking to right now. Like, for me and my best friends, I'm gonna spill and I'm gonna say everything I'm feeling,
Mhm.
and you're gonna sit and listen to it because I can, and it's for me, that's what friendships are for. It's
Same.
appropriate to do that, but I'm not gonna overly explain something in like, at school in a professional setting, and give out, like, all the like, I'm not gonna do that. I will, and I'm getting better at speaking up when I disagree with things
Mhm.
or when things don't feel right, and somehow, like, doing it in the most respectful, professional way that I can because I do think it's important to share honestly how you're feeling in the workplace,
Yeah.
especially with our jobs and, like, the support that we need and all that kinda stuff. Um but for me, like I said, like, I think it just kinda depends on, like, who you're talking to.
Mhm.
Because, like, for me, when I'm talking to my best friends, I don't feel like I'm over explaining ever.
No.
Like, sorry, that's what friendships are for. You're gonna sit, you're gonna
Yeah.
listen, and here's everything that's going on, you
Yeah.
know? Similar with, like, a day. I think it's different with relationships and partnerships, because, like, a day will sit and listen. He's a really great listener. But sometimes it's just, like, you have that gap of, like, "Oh, oh, and you're mad because?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "I just explained to you, why do you I'm so upset about this." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, yeah," and they're, like, trying to validate and not, like, hide that feeling of being upset,
Yeah.
but they're kind of just like, "I don't get it,"
Yeah.
you know? And so, I don't know, I don't really know if that answered the question totally, but
I
I'm
think
yeah,
yeah. Also, maybe just, like, knowing where, like, your, audience,
yeah,
maybe? I don't know.
100%. What does confident emotional communication sound like to you?
I think the biggest thing for me goes back to the I statements. I think, like, confident emotional communication is not projecting your emotions. I'm working on this, and Elijah, bless his heart, he's the most patient man ever. But I'm working on, like, literally last week, I was like, "I'm feeling this way, and I also understand if I don't open up to you,
How can I
how can you help me?" And,
Mhm.
like, obviously, like, your man wants to be there for you and help you, but, so I think that standing confident and, like, "I'm feeling like this because X, Y, or Z," that sounds like a confident emotional communication to me. Saying, like, "You suck, and you did this, and you yada yada," like, that's not confident because all that's doing is projecting and, like, blaming the other person for your emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions are, like, a personal thing. Yes, can someone, like, do something to, like, affect your emotions? Yes. But I think owning the emotion that you feel and expressing it in how you feel is the best, most confident way.
Yeah.
And then it also, like, it opens a floor for, like, a positive conversation.
Mhm.
So, stand on I statements. It's still something I'm working on. And there's ways even if you're like, "Is this silly to bring up?" Like, I still feel like there's ways to express it where you're not being naggy, and you can even be like, "Look, I understand that this might sound
Mhm.
stupid or whatever, you know, I've had a really long week. I'm on my period." Like, there might be other things going on to make it seem like it's, like, a 10 when it's really, like, a 4. But just, like, owning that and having that conversation and, you know, the emotional honesty, like, there's a lot of pieces that go into answering this question, but I statements and just talking about how you're feeling
Yeah.
is
I
the best.
I think that's huge, and I think what you're saying too is just kinda building on the fact that, like, your feelings are valid,
Mhm.
always, and I think that's kind of, like, one of the things that helps me the most when I have someone who's listening to me, a friend or whoever I'm venting to, and they do just say, like, truly, like, "Oh, I understand your feelings are valid."
Yeah.
Or maybe that they don't even understand. They just say, "Your
Your
feelings
feelings
are
are valid.
valid,
Yeah.
period." Because they are. You're allowed to feel all these different types of emotions. I think the way you handle them is things that can
Yeah.
be worked on, and you can come up with certain skills that are more beneficial than others, but at the end of the day, the way you're feeling is valid,
Yeah.
always, period.
Well, and I also think, like, that statement is so strong, like, trusting that your feelings are valid to a child, telling them your feelings are valid, telling yourself your feelings are valid, telling your man his feelings are valid, like, people like to feel validated, they don't want to feel crazy, so
Yeah.
just, like you said, your feelings are valid, how you handle and go about and behave, we may or may not need to work on depending
Yeah.
on the situation, but, they are valid, and my feelings about something are valid, and even if I come to leash and she's not fully understanding, like, "Wait, why are you so mad?"
Uh-huh.
Like, a day, like,
Yeah.
"Wait, huh? That made you mad?" Or
Uh-huh.
you know, in the classroom, I was venting to Lige, and he was validating my feelings, and then he was also trying to figure out, like, why I was
Certain
so
just
upset about it, because in his head, he was like, "I would have handled it XYZ, so I
Mhm.
wouldn't have let it
Get to
get to
this.
this point." But he was still validating me. Like, he didn't fully understand why I was so pissed, but he also didn't shut it down.
Yeah.
So, to anyone, to everyone, 0 to 105,
Mhm.
like, your feelings are valid.
Period.
People aren't always gonna understand them, but that does not mean that they're not important.
Yeah.
So,
100%. All right. Well, we have our next topic for next time.
yes.
And so we're like we said, we're trying to plan ahead. We're gonna be doing bi-weekly, so every other Sunday. So I'm gonna let Jesse explain what we'll be talking about next time.
Okay. We are going to talk next time with the holidays coming up. Just about the fun that holidays can be, but, like, we know holidays can be hard and triggering for a variety of different reasons. So,
Yeah.
we'll dig deeper into that. So stay tuned. But
Perfect.
for right now,
Until next time, be kind to yourself.
and remember, we are all lessons in progress. Cheers.
Cheers. Mhm.
I've been saying we're all lessons in progress. Like,
All the time. A day's been saying it.
remember.
A day's been like, it's a lesson in progress. I said,
Period.
period. We get to
Period.